Hi everybody. Today we might say that we hear the beginning of Jesus' mission, or the understanding of his mission for himself in the world. Today in our gospel, Jesus goes to his hometown of Nazareth and he goes to the synagogue according to his custom, and he starts to read from the scroll of the book of the prophet Isaiah. And what he reads is this. He says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free." He brings this message of liberation, of freedom, because Jesus is our freedom. Jesus is our freedom from the world, from the things in this world that cause us to sin. He is our freedom from sin itself. That's what he did in his crucifixion, is that he freed us from our sins. And like Jesus, we have all been given a mission. The Spirit of the Lord is upon each of us and has anointed each of us to proclaim liberty to captives, to proclaim the good news that Jesus has redeemed the world and redeemed each one of us. But we might think that in this day and age, it is a difficult thing to talk about Jesus to other people. Part of the reason is that we are in a culture that is haunted by Christianity, meaning that we have a lot of Christian foundations that go throughout our society, a lot of people who have heard about Jesus, but a lot of people who have stopped caring about their faith, or others who have learned their catechism when they were younger but now have left the church, either because they don't like something they heard at church, or because they just don't see it as a priority in their lives. But our mission remains the same, to continue to preach Jesus Christ to the world and his redemption for all people. The other day I was speaking with a friend of mine, and she's a Protestant, and we were having an amicable conversation, but she started to talk about what she saw as the errors in Catholic faith, in the tradition of Catholics, what she saw as the wrong things. Not something that's very fun to hear when you're a Catholic priest. But as I listened to her patiently, I was thinking to myself, this is not an attractive or convincing way to be evangelized. This is not a way that is ever going to convince me to renounce any faith in Catholicism that I have, or any faith at all, to want to go over to someone else's belief system, because it's just talking about errors or something that they see wrong with it. What I have found to be convincing, to be attractive about Catholicism, is when I see someone whose life is totally changed by Jesus Christ. Someone who is on fire, someone who is joyful because Jesus has redeemed them. We hear in our first reading Paul talking to the Corinthians, saying that when he came among them, he didn't come with eloquent words or human wisdom, but he said he resolved to know nothing but Jesus Christ and him crucified, saying that he wanted their faith not to rely on any human wisdom, but on the power of God. So all he did was simply preach the gospel, the very core of what we believe, that Jesus suffered, died, and rose for our salvation. And his life then becomes the witness to that. They see he has been freed. And so that becomes an attractive thing to the people of Corinth. That, my friends, is the way that we are called to evangelize, even to people who might have heard about the gospel before, but have turned away from it. Our lives become the witness to that, our joy, in the way that we speak of our experience of Jesus Christ. We must do that with joy. That is the only way that we might evangelize truly, with true faith, that others might be attracted to Jesus. So today let's preach Jesus and him crucified, that we might evangelize the world.